Good afternoon, or good morning, or perhaps even good evening. This is the first round of the 2019 Link to the Past Randomizer tournament. We have a match here between FEARAgent and Mentosman8 in our group stage. I am Hupfin on commentary, and I'm joined here by Marjovic.
Oh, thank you, Huffin. It's so great to be back again with another fantastic group stage. It's just so much A Link to the Past randomizer that we'll be having today, tomorrow, and for weeks to come. And what a splendid matchup we have to start off today.
Absolutely. We've already gone through a solid month of the qualifying rounds, and we're now down to the top players in our group, and these are, two of those greats.
Two of those 128 players who managed to qualify through that grueling 16 qualifier gauntlet. And here they are, FEARAgent, seed number 85, and Mentosman, seed number 45.
Yep, and we will be getting things started in just a moment. This is going to be, normal open mode 7-7 is my understanding for this round. I'll be shuffling up the rules as the matches go along, but for now we're starting off nice and clean and simple.
Indeed, this is game one in this best of three, and for the second and third game, it's the loser of the previous game who gets to make one little small adjustment for their match. But for now, it's just good old standard open.
Are there any of those adjustments that you think we're going to see out of this pair? Do you know like any favorites that they might have, or anything that you're hoping they'll do?
Well, possibly that we may see some 6-6 to try and avoid maybe looking for a hook shot for Crystal Swamp, and perhaps try some hovering instead to bypass Moldorm 2.
Also a very good way of avoiding the Ice Rod if it's a Crystal T-Rock.
And everyone wants to avoid that Ice Rod if possible.
But everyone wants to find that mirror, as we do with Mentosman starting off right in Link's house.
Yeah, Link's house is one of the two main ways that you start in open mode. The other is Sank start, and they seem to be equally common, and there's a good amount of arguments for which route is better than the other to lead with.
Certainly, and if you're starting with Link's house, this is a very sensible next move. Heading over to the Uncle, get 2 checks, a little bit of magic, and as Mentosman showed, you can check the tree pole for some early information. There's a Moon Pearl. The Uncle has a Moon Pearl. Good job, Uncle.
Good job indeed. Well, it certainly means that FEARAgent will be going here at some point, as it seems like he went for a Sank start first, and apparently picked up some arrows, I'm guessing, in the Sank chest.
That is what it looks like, yes.
That's actually a key.
Oh, that might have been the mushroom spot then.
Ah, yeah. Certainly seems to be that way, but this is a very poor opening here. No bombs, rupees. We'll see how FEARAgent decides to tackle this CAC. Try for bombs in the well, in Blind Basement, or just go and buy them.
Yeah, honestly, you can take the approach of hitting the tavern as one last check, and then, hey, if there's no bombs, the shop is right there. It's a little slower. You end up doing Kakariko kind of backwards, but it is a bit safer.
Yeah, it is that degree of risk that you're willing to take. If you believe that you are someone that has to take risks to get that win, then yeah, sure. You may just want to go to the basement and try and gain any amount of time that you can, but as we see here, FEARAgent is just playing it safer.
Yeah, that is one spot where your performance during the qualifiers can kind of inform how you approach the group stages. If you took a lot of risks in there and then you paid off a lot, well, you're inclined to play a little riskier. If you played it safe and still managed to qualify, then hey, there you go.
It's also game 1 in a best of 3. Maybe not try something too daring and just see how it goes. You always have a second game no matter what. I mean, a mirror and moon pearl and a sword is quite nice, but we're looking for something a little bit more juicy.
And so far that well is not paying off. Immediately as I say that, a hookshot shows up, and a flute. Thank you, well, for proving that I'm wrong.
Well, hello Death Mountain. There's a lot of stuff you can do up there with that flute hookshot combination. I have a feeling that we're gonna see a trip there in the not-too-distant future.
And certainly if we stumble upon the hammer before we get up there, that's basically all you need.
I mean, they have the mirror, so they can already get to Tower of Hera. They don't have a fire source, so they may not be able to do the dungeon, but there's just so much they can do up there.
And really, we've been seeing so many of those Hera pot clips lately. We got the hook shot, so our runners can do that. They can skip the need for a fire source entirely.
That is absolutely possible, but there is that risk with the big chest if the big key is in the basement, and you will have to leave that out, and there could be an item there that is important. But again, what risks are you willing to take? And the flute probably still will be used to go to the dam first, tends to be the case. You may want to have something a bit more than 3 hearts when going against cabbages.
Very true.
I also have yet to see a map check, so we don't know if Hera is a crystal or a pendant yet, and that could also be a factor.
Just seeing a little bit of money on the library as Mentosman picks up the goods out of the well. Get a quick dip into the race game. FEARAgent is just going to go for it, not even going to preview it. If it's nothing that they want, well, there's a flute.
Yeah, the flute means that you can just easily get away there. It is a bit interesting. The way that I've been perceiving the racing game is that the more items you have, the less likely you are to check it. That's a heart container, and I haven't picked one up, so yeah, that's not the worst thing in the world.
No, that's going to be a dip over to desert. We see there's just a big 20 on the ledge. FEARAgent probably going to get the Agena check out of the way, which is smart. That can be a very obnoxious spot if you end up missing it.
Yeah, and the qualifiers have been a bit all over the place with finding that Dark World access, and they've been pulled in all directions. Agena, Eastern, the Fish, and Death Mountain, all over the place just to get access to it. So I'm not really blaming FEARAgent for finding that vanilla piece of art.
Although I'm sure Mentosman is a little happier finding that Master Sword over in the well, or in the dam rather.
So is that little concern you may have though. Early Master Sword, you can go to Aga 1, still need a lamp, but you have that hook shot already, and you can cross the river if you find one more item, you know.
That is true.
I think we're going Eastern though.
Yeah, I think that bow kind of settles it, and that glove doesn't hurt.
Remember what I said like 2 minutes ago about the seed pulling you in every order? Yeah, now you can do Easter. The glove picks makes Sora in logic. You have everything up on Death Mountain. Where do you go?
Well, Mentosman apparently wants to go and hit the Ice Rod Cave and clear out those Sphere 1 checks before anyone forgets.
It does seem like Mentosman just wants to do the standard, good old traditional route and nothing fancy. Just do the regular things, and then think where to go next.
That move pays off reasonably. Blue mail, pretty good to have this early on.
Yeah, Mentosman not getting 2 heart containers, one of which was at the racing game. Can't remember where the other one was. An early mirror may indicate that there could be something on the island today, but that is not the case. I mean, I just really want to see a map check at this point.
Same.
What is Eastern? What is Tower of Hera? Because those are potentially 2 dungeons you can full clear at this point, and if those 2 are crystals, that could be 2 very quick ones.
Yeah, but so far, this fake flipper is not paying off that handsomely. But then we haven't gotten to Zora, or the waterfall, which Mentosman can do holding onto that moon pearl. If FEARAgent were to try it, it wouldn't work.
That is indeed true, so FEARAgent is leaving. However, there is the rupee factor here. They've been particularly poor, and they also had to spend rupees to buy bombs to seed, so they don't really have much to spare for Sora.
Yeah, all the more reason to hold that off on FEARAgent's side. Mentosman, I guess, maybe gambling on a big payout? Not big enough.
We can still check the Sora ledge, and if there is something important there, we'll probably route that in later with flippers and when you have enough money, and those are all crystals in the light world today.
Yep, with Hera being one of the 5/6 on top of it.
Well, Sora could still have something, but that's probably going to be in the last location if that is a progression.
Yep, FEARAgent probably very happy with those 5 hearts, or rather, very happy to not have only 3. Climbing up Death Mountain and getting pegged by a cabbage here and there on the way. But gonna check Spec Rock, and gonna head straight to Hera, because those bombs, not worth it.
They're definitely not. It is still a little bit interesting to see this sort of early Eastern play, because you have the mirror, there is the possibility for a odd Eastern back-to-back later that you could do, and it's a crystal, but it's Pendant Thieves Town, so everyone's really upset right now. But still deciding to go for the Eastern because it is a crystal that you can still clear.
Yep, and those other pendants being Ice and Skull Woods.
In general, Skull Woods and Thieves Town are both dungeons you want to have crystals because of how close it is to both of them. It's very easy to just go back to back and collect them, and you don't need that many items to clear them. Unfortunately, it's randomizer, so sometimes you don't get what you want.
But you always get what you need. Like that big key. That's
true.
a nice big key to have.
Yeah, so the basement could still have an item, you know, but don't have the sequence break at this time, setting up the Hera pod here.
Yep. At this point, that Hera pod is more about skipping the beetle rooms than anything.
Yeah, if your execution is good enough, it is faster to do that Hera pod than actually climbing the dungeon normally, so the top runners are incorporated into their standard route.
Yep, we did have a match just earlier this morning where the Hera pot saves you the entire basement, so it is a huge time save if you can do it.
I do think that was both the map and the compass, though, so I believe there's an item in the basement.
Yeah, well, we saw 20 rupees.
Yeah, I was gonna say no small keys, so it's a 50-50. Depends on what our good friend Moldorm has in store for us. Moldorm isn't playing particularly nice today.
Meanwhile, Eastern has just kind of been Eastern. Nothing of significant interest so far, but we still have a couple chests left.
Well, Moldorm goes down, and that is the first crystal of this race going to FEARAgent, one of the 5/6s, and basement. I mean, at this point, it doesn't really matter. You don't have a fire source in the first place. Maybe you have one where you can come back later and do Dark Death Mountain. You have the mirror, so it's not the worst thing in the world to go and check it if it really comes down to that.
Yeah, right now it's more about taking care of the right side of the Light Death Mountain, thanks to holding onto that hookshot.
And Mentosman showing, yes, no problems at all navigating these dark rooms to get through and continuing with this sequence break.
Yeah, the logic will never require you to do that, but it is one of those things you really want to learn if you're going to learn the randomizer, because honestly, that dark room is pretty straightforward once you know it.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the easier ones. Oh yes, Mentosman knows that you can hookshot that hint tile. Actually, not that many people who know that.
I certainly didn't know that.
And another weird thing with how the fire source requirement works in Eastern is that this room to the boss, this is in logic with the fire rod, but that chest, you need a lamp for that. And there's the lamp.
It seems like that lamp was all we get out of
Ooh.
Paradox Cave, and Mentosman taking certainly an unintentional death in that dark room. Things getting a little out of hand.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened there because I was fixated on the lamp, but it did seem like he didn't not quite get the setup there for the Igors.
Yeah, that first Eastern Dark Room is pretty easy, straightforward. The second one, you need to know the timing a bit better. Taking care of those Igors correctly.
Yeah, since you can't see the Igors, you don't know when they open their eyes, so you will have to just learn when they are meant to open it as you move forward. But you also need to remember to be in the right position, so it can be very tricky. On the other hand, with the lamp on East Death Mountain, all of this is essentially in logic, since Mentosman can acquire it. It also means that the Hera basement item is also in logic.
And as chat mentioned, it does mean Aga is in logic.
Yeah, Aga 1 is in logic. Do you have the Moon Pearl? We do have hookshot gloves to cross over the river to the left side. Now, FEARAgent doesn't have the Moon Pearl yet from Uncle. And we still haven't seen what's in Escape, so there are still some options left. And doing Escape into Aga 1 tends to be a very simple and straightforward play, and it probably is what we will see unless we find Mitts or a hammer.
I don't think... Oh no, I think we still have one item left in this dungeon that we'll see off of the Armos Knights, or we're about to find out. It's another sword.
Mentosman, unfortunately, with one arrow set to fire 3 more there, but it's still first crystal for Mentosman, and we have 3 swords at the 17-minute mark.
I mean, if your options are 3 swords or Dark World access, I don't know which one I would pick.
I feel like we're almost back in version 17 here, except for the fact that it looks like an Aga 1 seed. Now it's Mentosman's time to climb the mountain. We'll see if he's gonna do east side first to get the lamp, or just go Tower of Hera and do the same route FEARAgent did. FEARAgent is probably doing escape after this. Doesn't really have any other options except for Sora.
Yeah, that's basically it. And Zora is very much a one-off location with this setup.
And we also know at this point, FEARAgent's gonna know when he gets the Moon Pearl that you can do Catfish, and then Mirror, and do Sora. And now we're in deja vu mode, as we're just waiting for someone to go do escape, I guess.
Pretty much. There's not a whole lot that these two have available to them, honestly. We get to see what this dark room is supposed to look like, because, you know, you're supposed to have a lamp.
If FEARAgent going to the mountain first, we'll be able to do these rooms faster, since when you see everything, you just naturally feel more confident moving about the rooms. And we'll probably not take a death later as well.
Yeah, for all we know, that death could end up being like a pretty significant deal. That doesn't really seem like it at the time, but you know, FEARAgent doesn't have to deal with those conditions for sure.
Yeah, we do have everything in Escape left. I still think that they haven't even checked the back of Escape. Uncle did have the Moon Pearl, as we saw from Mentosman's opening route, but that was it.
And Mentosman, that's as far as we've gone in that escape. We haven't done the rescue, we haven't done the back, we haven't done Dark Cross, any of it.
It's indeed true. So there's a fair amount of items there. I will say it is a bit weird that you see this sort of delay for back of escape, because it tends to be a very high priority location. There was the key in the Sank chest, and I wonder if that may have something to do with it. Oh, Mentosman, no.
Tried to do a bomb jump to the big chest while holding onto the hook shot, which is surprising, but
Certainly hasn't worked out very well for Mentosman here. Now, FEARAgent also getting not a perfect fight here, but, you know, goes down anyway. Armos isn't really the hardest of bosses, it's just a matter of can you get the quick kill or not.
But quick kill or not, that does make 2 crystals for FEARAgent. And escape left to do, really.
Now, FEARAgent used the flute, so did Easton first, and will then check the back of Sahaswala, get the nothing that's there, and then probably do escape as Mentosman steps up the bomb jump again.
And we also saw both times with Mentosman not doing the pot clip that FEARAgent did. You see, it is a little slower. It's not a huge deal with this item layout, but it certainly did help FEARAgent.
It certainly seems like FEARAgent has overall been having some better movement and execution. Obviously, the Mentosman's unfortunate deaths and the double fall is a big concern, but that Moldorm crit kill was significantly faster than FEARAgent's. Now, if this is really AGA 1 for Dark World Access, which it certainly looks like, you don't really have any good options. You don't have Hammer for Pod, and then you have Pendant Skullwoods and Thieves Town. And yeah, no real good options there. I don't really know where you would go first. You could go Catfish, Mirror, check Sora, because we still don't know what Sora has, and Sora is in Logic. You could just decide, I'm just gonna go Pod. And if you decide to cross the river, you basically force yourself to wrap all the way around to Hype Cave, because it's gonna take forever to get back there if you save and quit at any time.
Honestly, I think I would end up taking the approach of, Catfish into Zora, knowing that Zora is technically already available, so it's a little earlier. And then I would probably do the whole wrap. That's a lot more locations than just doing Pod. Granted, it's a lot slower because you're walking all the way around the world, but you get a better chance of finding the thing you need just by the math.
Pod is a dungeon that a lot of people have a love-hate relationship with, because you get access to it after Aga 1, you don't have the hammer, and sometimes it has something in its boots and it's great, and sometimes it doesn't, and then you're very sad. Oh, hi Boots.
Well, yeah, if Pod has anything today, it's not that.
Well, it does put Bonk Rocks in Logic, but I'm pretty certain FEARAgent is just gonna go ahead and do Aga 1 once he's done with this. Because if he save and quits, go to Sank just to check that one spot and then flips back to Link's house and is still forced to do Aga 1, that's a lot of time. We'll see.
Meanwhile, if you didn't have to do Aga and it was in the Bongrots, well, that's a heck of a story, if nothing else.
Mentosman is now down over on the mountain and is probably fluting away here. Still has the Hera basement. But I think that we basically decided that Hera basement doesn't have anything at this point.
I mean, it could, but we're really hoping it doesn't, because, well, that's also a story.
Our players are certainly working under the assumption that there is nothing there. Oh, hello there.
We will need that ice rod.
And we will not be hunting for it. That's always good, right?
Oh, yeah. It means we know that's not on pedestal.
Well, Ice Rod is only used for one thing in the entire game, so the fact that it can be anywhere is really bad, but the fact that you have it at the 25-minute mark is really good.
FEARAgent is going to bail, not check, and not just make the run up to Aga.
We are seeing Bonk Rocks first, though. Where will you go after this? Maybe just get the Myths or the Hammer and you get your Darkhold access here. But if you do get your Hammer, do you go Darkhold via CAC? No, wait, you have Flute, you can just go anywhere. Or you disregard this and you go do something else.
Also an option. Also an option for Fear to check Lumberjack now that he has the boots. Could be that is how Aga is required.
Yeah, I don't know if this has been checked yet.
Oh. Not that we have seen.
No. Yeah, this hasn't been checked. We don't know what's here. Ah.
Interesting.
We should just work under the assumption it's an Aga 1 seed at this point.
I think so, yes.
That's a fetch quest and a half, but come on. Sick Kid gives Starkville. No, okay, I think at this point, you gotta say it's Aga 1, and then you have the book, you can do Desert. You just got Boots, remember, so you know you can clear that no problem. FEARAgent is fake flippering to Sora?
Looks like.
It does seem like FEARAgent really doesn't want to do Aga 1 at this point, and is doing absolutely everything he can to avoid it.
Which might work out for Mentosman if he's a little more willing to take that fight.
We'll see. He's gonna get his crap in the back. And these are all checks that Mentosman has checked, except for Sora himself, that is.
Yeah, it looks like Mentosman is taking on Aga.
Yeah.
So our gambles here is that for Mentosman, that it is an Aga required seed, and for FEARAgent, that progression is in one of those orphan locations that we've left around the world.
I mean, we've been talking about this Saga 1 for some time now, and everything does point toward it. I don't think Mentosman knows about the book, so that's still in the blind. But when do you route that in?
At this point, I would route it in after any save and quit that dumps me to the Sanctuary.
Yeah, that is the best time to do it, and... Well, honestly, you just cross over the river and use the mirror to check it after you check what's on Bumper Cave.
That too.
I'm not too used to seeing this super early mirror here with Aga 1. It certainly makes for some interesting routing. We'll see if FEARAgent is gonna do Hera Basement after this, unless Sora has a big payoff today.
That's a very small payoff.
You trade a 5 and 2 zeros for a 5, that's not worth it. I think this is the Aga one though, yep. I guess what the question is, since FEARAgent knows about the book, maybe he will be more incentivized to head across the river, since he can't pick up the book along the way using the mirror.
Yeah, I don't know how much that would influence his routing. If he wants to do pod, he'll still do pod.
Yeah, pod is pod.
Yeah. But with no hammer, do you want to be doing pod?
That's always a good question, and there is no good answer to that. And the thing is, since it's Penn Skullwoods and Thieves Town, it's not very nice. FEARAgent did Sora, so Mentosman may be more inclined to go check Catfish Mirror over to Sora. There's definitely a lot of options here that you have, even though it's still an Aga 1 seed. Yes, we can guess a random number between 1 and 15, and if you guessed 1, then you're still in it.
And now you're not.
Oh dear, Aga, please don't do this. Oh
That's...
god, no.
If you guessed 15, you're still technically in this.
Oh dear.
Because yes, Aga will always do a normal shot, 3 random
Oh
blue ball
god.
or valid, and then the lightning attack, and then repeat.
What is... No, 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 no. Please. What's going on? Okay, I'll be honest, the most I've seen is 11, and we may beat this today.
Yeah, we are at 6 already.
6 out of 6 even.
7 out of 7.
God. Come on, Aga, come on. Yes! Okay, 15 is dead. It seems like the Aga bot decided to work.
So that's 7.
That's still 7
That's
too many.
still a lot.
Yeah, that's definitely more than average. And all that work for the other king? I mean, if you're the player here and you see 6 blue balls after 6 blue balls, you gotta imagine this is the 15.
You're almost hoping, just because you never see that, and, you know, it's a story.
It's certainly a story. We are seeing Mentosman hoping for catfish into Sora. Thankfully, Mentosman will still have enough rupees after this to enter pod if he so desires.
Yeah, we did start off a bit starved for cash, but Spiral Cave in particular really got our runners in a good spot.
Yeah, rupees are not gonna be a concern from here on out. Catfish even given a little bit of an exchange. Well, FEARAgent's just gonna deal with a few more blue balls, and then we'll have to see where he's going.
Yeah, this Zora check for Mentosman is going to buy FEARAgent a little bit of time. But, yeah, it really depends on which route each of them takes from here, whether they cross the river or dip into pod.
Yeah, also FEARAgent decides to go ahead and do catfish here. That's a big time investment, but I don't really see him doing that. You get the cane, you get an invulnerability item. That's kind of nice to have, because still pretty low on the hard count, even with the blue mail. Mentosman is running back. I actually expected him to save and quit. I don't know if this is faster or slower.
Yeah, I think saving quit would be faster. Gives you that portal right at the castle, so just hop into Link's house.
It does seem like we will have a major diversion here. FEARAgent going pod and Mentosman crossing the river.
Yep, that's a river cross.
I mean, if there's anything big in pod here, that's tremendous for FEARAgent, but if there is nothing, it could be a cause for concern. You have the mirror, so you have some additional spots you can also check along this route, like Graveyard Ledge, which is otherwise very difficult to route in properly.
Yeah, this is definitely the best time and honestly some of the best conditions to get Graveyard Ledge. Just a piece of heart that Mentosman is going to skip. Sitting on 6 hearts, though. I would feel a little low even with the blue mail. FEARAgent's 8 is a little more manageable, but 6?
Yeah, you gotta remember, Mentosman took a double fall in Tower of Hera, took a death in Eastern. Gotta imagine he's feeling behind and need to save those frames. FEARAgent trying probably the hardest hover in the game to my knowledge.
Yeah, certainly a bold one I actually didn't know would work. But couldn't pull it off that time.
Gives a try and then decides to leave. We will need 1 or 2 medallions to seed, so being able to pick them up early is very nice indeed.
The Mentosman just remembered Bonk Rocks. I was about to say it looked like he skipped it, but
Bonk Rock, check Bumper Cave, then go and get the book. Also, technically, we could actually need all 3 medallions this seed, but that is very unlikely.
yeah, until we see that Fire Rod, we could, in theory.
And for your Green Pendant Ice Palace. And as Paul just keeps on giving keys, Mentosman will grab this book. Yeah, I was gonna say, he's gonna check that on the way back.
So right out of the gate with this book, we do have one tablet and Desert Palace that we can check. And actually, no, we have everything. As I say that, because we can loop all the way around to the other one as well.
Oh dear. You go to Hype Cave, all the way around this massive loop, then you go to Bombo's tablet, then you mirror, then you Agena, then you use the book and you go enter deserts. What a route. That's spicy.
I mean, after that Aga fight, I wouldn't be surprised if this seed decided to be a little spicy.
It's certainly spicy already, but I mean, an Aga 1 with a Pendant Thieves Town, that's never something you want to see. I mean, you'd never want to see Aga 1, you never want to see Pendant Thieves Town, but you bring those two together and you're very sad.
Red mail is less sad, though. That's nice to have.
Like I mentioned earlier about when you go on this route, if you save and quit, and you don't find Mitts or Hammer, it takes a long way to get back. So skipping Skull Woods, that is a big risk. And that's a cane that doesn't unlock anything right now, but it's certainly something you will need later. Meanwhile, Pod is dead.
Yeah, that is a lot of time and effort from Fear to get a medallion that we might not even need.
And probably the Mentosman will be able to pick up that medallion before it's even going to be something that is going to be required. People in chat like to be funny, but you know, don't be too funny. And that is interesting. The Mentosman now checking the back here. I was going to mention that because it did seem like he skipped out the bottom side of CAC during his first trip. Turned out to be the case. FEARAgent now going to Catfish. Seems like he's probably not going to leave any location behind.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't even notice that Mentosman had left behind these south of Kakariko checks, so that makes the Aga play a little bolder on his part.
Yeah, definitely, because you get the boots, you know there are now 2 items down here. You could easily check it with the flute, and yet goes for the Aga 1. And it is certainly uncommon to skip those 2 locations, even if you're entering CAC bombless and you have to go buy bombs and you have to make some weird tour around CAC. You still tend to go down south and check them, but Mentosman had something else in mind, including digging way too much.
Way too much.
Way too much for nothing. And Mentosman is also completely skipping Thieves Town here, which is also very fascinating. It really does seem like Mentosman is taking some very calculated risks here to try and make up time for the early losses. Skipping 2 pendant dungeons where you can easily get like 4 or 5 items.
In fairness, though, there are 2 pendant dungeons that Mentosman cannot full clear. You'd still be leaving the big chest in Thieves Town and, of course, the entire back of Skull Woods without the fire rod. So, yeah, there's still a lot of checks there, but if you want to save a pendant dungeon until you can full clear it or you're forced to do it, then Mentosman's route makes a little more sense.
Yeah, but I do think primarily this is just him taking a pretty big risk with this route. Since you just go in, check Thieves Town, get the first 4 locations, just mirror out. It's not really a big time investment, but...
Just, it's certainly a very bold play.
Absolutely. The cape isn't needed for any... Okay, now you can easily go back to Thieves Town Skullwoods later with the MIPS. So you have that. You also have Dark Death Mountain, which is readily available to you. You have the Hookshot, you have Hookshot Cave, you have Flute with MIPS. You can check the Mire area. There is so much open to you right now.
But still no hammer.
Still no hammer. I mean, hammer go mode is basically best case scenario.
Honestly, yeah. Yeah, we're down to needing the hammer, the flippers, fire rod, and if we need Quake, then we need that as well, but we don't know that. With Tempered Sword, I don't imagine our runners really need silvers even.
Well, we have 2 medallions. Let's see if we need one of them. Yes, bombos. We got bombos. Mentosman not even attempting to get the 1-frame dash to skip the anti-fairies or whatever they are called. There's our second bow.
So yeah, Aga 1 got to be a little rude, but it looks like the Ganon fight is going to be pretty smooth and easy.
As reasonably fast silvers and tempered sword already. You got red mail, you got both invulnerability items. Yeah, I'm not really a concern. Now Mentosman will probably go into Mire here. Have hookshot and boots to get in, have the cane for the end. Can mirror over here and do desert as well.
Might end up doing desert first, it looks like. But yeah, this is 2 crystals that they can knock out.
It's pretty fascinating just how much those myths gave you in this situation. It feels like the entire world is open now.
Meanwhile, FEARAgent is going to do this pendant dungeon dip.
And so far there hasn't been anything there. And there's our final medallion, so the hunt for those is now over. I mean, just look at Mentosman's tracker right now. He has so many items, but still missing that crucial hammer. You need the hammer, the flippers, and the fire rod at this point.
Yeah, and that trio of items does mean that Pedestal will not have anything of value. Because we need 2 of those items just to get into Ice Palace, and the other one for Skull Woods.
Yeah,
Which on FEARAgent's side has not been anything.
Yep, and apparently Skull Woods, you need a fire rod for both items there, so oof. Nice calculated risk from Mentosman that pays off. Suddenly this seed just felt like it got really fast. Just like that. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, well, we had a good set of items for exploring the Dark World and hitting up a lot of locations up until we had to do the Aga fight. That was a strong bottleneck. From there, like, yeah, the Dark World has opened up, and finding those gloves over in Hype Cave just opens it up further.
And FEARAgent being put behind here by Palace of Darkness not having anything, and Skull Woods not having anything either, and delaying the Aga 1 earlier. We'll see if make the trip into Thieves Town as Mentosman, 1 cycle silver Lemolas, no problem whatsoever. I'm not really expecting FEARAgent to check more than 4 locations here, and I really do feel like he needs to find something here.
Oh, absolutely. If not, then, you know, FEARAgent is just going to be tracing Mentos' steps and trying to make it up in execution. And again, these are both very solid runners, so it's a sizable gap to try to make up just on that front.
I mean, both of our players here, they played in qualifier number 5. Mentosman was number 25 in his finish there. FEARAgent was number 26. They are really close to one another. Unfortunately, nothing in the early parts of Thieves Town here, and FEARAgent's just gonna leave. And Mentosman is just digging deeper into the sphere logic. And considering what we've seen, there isn't really that much left. There is Dark Death Mountain, which has a fair amount of items, but you gotta imagine something is either there or in Mire at this point. Or still that Hera basement lurking around.
Yeah, it's either. Well, that's the only one-off that we haven't double-checked. So, yeah, it's either there, or in Mire, or up on the mountain.
And you do have the book to check Ether Tablet alongside that, if you do want that. It's a big time investment for that, though.
Yeah, finding the Titan's Mitt does speed up a lot of this, because, again, we don't have to do this whole, loop-de-loop around the Dark World.
You can do the Smith, but you would prefer to have the Hammer for that, because otherwise Hammer Pegs gets put in a pretty weird situation. You can fake Flipper into Ice Palace if you really want that, but since you do need the Flippers for Swamp, probably not going to see that.
Yeah, the hammer in particular has some very rude potential. I've seen hammer in the one chest in Swamp Palace that is accessible without needing it, and that is a very obnoxious location. You are definitely going to last location that one.
I've seen that one way too often for my own good.
Seeing it once is way too often.
I agree. I really do agree. But FEARAgent's gonna get the mids now, and we'll open up the Desert Mire area. We'll probably do both of those back to back. And Mentosman, where are you going now? So far, you haven't really found anything that opens up a significant amount of locations. Probably going Dark Death Mountain.
That's really our best density at this point, unless he starts to worry that, hey, I skipped Skullwoods, I skipped Thieves Town, did I make a mistake?
I think, though, in Mentosman's position, you basically have to say, I've skipped them, I'm not going to go back to them. You're taking a gamble, you have to follow through with the gamble, because once you back down, you have to ask yourself, why did I take that gamble in the first place? So I can't really see Mentosman, if he's in that mentality, that he's going to go back to Thieves Town Skullwoods right now.
That is a very good point.
Because it's one thing to gamble, but it's another thing to remember the gamble and not actually back down from it. And sometimes people do that, and it's not really a gamble, it's just suboptimal routing, really. You basically have to turn those locations into your last location. Well, maybe he will go back to Thieves Town after all to check that powder spot.
Yeah, because we do not need the hammer to visit Batman.
You do have the mirror to bypass that, so we could see an actual Smith chain there from Mentosman because of that. You do have the flute in the mirror, so it's not the slowest thing in the world, but still can't do hammer pegs, which is kind of sad. FEARAgent's going Mire first. We'll be doing Desert after this.
Yeah, on the screen it only looks like FEARAgent is, a mire behind, but it's really 2 dungeons at this point.
Yeah, right now it basically depends how many items are these mids actually unlocking, because if the mids don't unlock anything, that means we have to check those spots that the Mentosman hasn't visited. Most notably, the back of Thieves Town could be something big. But if he also decides to go and check that powder spot, he just as well go in and check the first floor. But then you're basically backing down from your gamble. You know, I'm very interested to see how Mentosman is gonna route this after getting this pretty easy boss fight thanks to Silvers.
I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of Link to the Past Randomizer is execution, but especially when you enter a tournament, it becomes a big mental game, both for yourself and for how you're going to metagame the seed and your opponent, and every aspect like that.
The thing is, if you are playing against someone that you know very well, you could just decide to make the plays that you know that your opponent is never going to do and hope that they work out. And if they do, well, you may have just gotten yourself a win. And FEARAgent has no magic, and that's not good, but thankfully there's some magic fill up in this room. That's a close call there. There's the torch. And the Genus was one of those locations earlier that Mentosman skipped out on, and really, this is the best opportunity to check it because you're done with the entire Mire Desert area at this point. You're never going back.
But again, showing how bold that Agaplay was, because this is a Sphere 1 location. This is available from the very beginning. If something like Hammer or Mitz was here, then the entire Agaplay was unnecessary.
Yeah, well, we remember FEARAgent, after getting the flute in Kakariko, finishing Kakariko, decides to flute to Desert to check Aegina before anything else. And Mentosman, where are you going here?
Might be making that powder play. Might be dipping into Thieves Town. Might be going back on that gamble.
This does seem to be that he's just digging deeper and deeper into the spheres here. Yeah, yes, skipping Thieves Town again, doing Smith and Powder. And I do think that death in Eastern Palace is a big influence on this. Has to gain as much time as possible somewhere and just taking some substantial risks that so far are working out very well.
Like I said, mental game.
And so for those who are coming in a bit late, Mentosman took a death in the Dark Igor room in Eastern Palace earlier. FEARAgent went Death Mountain first and had the lamp when he went there, so he had no problems with it.
So that powder did not pay off.
Well, it certainly did not. The Smith could still be something. So you hand in the Smith, you get the purple chest, you fly and hand in the purple chest, and then Dark Death Mountain, I presume?
Really, unless the purple chest has the flippers to push you over to Swamp Palace, that's your play. Mentosman is just going to do it now.
As disregard purple chest, acquire Dark Death Mountain? Sure. It may seem that we're not talking too much about FEARAgent, but at this point FEARAgent is mostly just following in Mentosman's footsteps and haven't really done anything outside of that. And considering his current options, it's going to be interesting to see where he goes after Desert. Oh, yeah. The portal position. Yeah, Chat brings up a good point there about the portal position and the purple chest, so that makes sense.
Yeah, it could have gone back to the main portal up above Kakariko, but now you're doing a lot of screen transitions. You're doing a lot of movement.
And we're still skipping the Hera basement. Goodbye, basement. I have a fair amount of locations over here. as FEARAgent takes down Beatrice. You can check to see if you need Ether. We know that Ether is in Palace of Darkness, the only thing that was in Palace of Darkness. More importantly, something that allows us to do some more things in the seed.
Yeah, right now Ether is kinda FEARAgent saving grace. If that's necessary, then Mentosman has to do a fair bit of hunting to discover it. Otherwise, FEARAgent is gonna have to make some gambles of his own.
Certainly, there is a concern though if Hammer is the next item for Mentosman. He's probably just gonna go ahead and do Pod, and then you get the Ether there. But if this is Ether for Turtle Rock and the Hammer isn't here, that is actually best case scenario for FEARAgent.
It's Bombos.
Well, Pod was completely empty this game.
Still have to go in there because it is a crystal, but in terms of items, totally dry. There's the hammer.
I guess Mentosman is just gonna do Pod after this. Now, you could go into Turtle Rock to have a look. You don't have the Fire Rod, but you could still have a look. And technically the Fire Rod could be in there.
Yep. One chest where it could be. It's about as rude as the hammer in Swamp, but yep, entirely possible.
So Flippers and Fire Rod is still what we're looking for here. You need the Fire Rod for Turtle Rock, and you need the Flippers for Swamp Palace. FEARAgent is clearing out desert now. It also takes such a long time to climb up the mountain again, so if you're not checking this right now, you're probably never checking this. Even with Mentosman going Pod, we know there is nothing there. Maybe there's an item on Helmasaur, didn't count for that. But where do you go after that? Do you then go do Hammer Pegs, Purple Chest? Do you finally dip Thieves Town?
Well, Mentos first is going to dip a little deeper into T-Rock. Getting that small key, you can at least do one more chest. And if the Chomps give you another small key, you could do another chest.
How deep does the Turtle Rock go today? That deep.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, we need a Fire Rod to continue here. FEARAgent getting a 1 cycle Silver Landmona's fight as well. And I don't think Mentosman is gonna do Hera Basement, even with the mirror out, probably Spike Cave.
Yep, that's a Spike Cave play. Another one of those locations that there's never really a good time to do it, so you do it as soon as you see the opportunity.
Now, FEARAgent, where are you going? Checkerboard Cave, I presume that he decided to leave out until now.
A shovel?
I guess you just go and check that immediately. You say quit to Link's house, go west, and then you flute from there. Or you...
I guess so.
Yeah. Because you have the flutes and you have boots, it's very quick to get to any location. Of course, your opponent have the same capabilities as you do, but it just feels faster. Even though it's not really faster compared to your opponent, but you know. But FEARAgent is just making the call immediately to Dark Death Mountain. We'll get the hammer from this.
Mentosman giving us a nice little shovel slide for 20 rupees. More style and substance.
The fans go wild. And here's the pod. And I wonder where FEARAgent is going. Probably dipping Turtle Rock as well. And then may just decide, go clear out pod because I can. Assuming there's still an item on Helmasaur King. And they may be pretty close to one another after that.
Yeah, FEARAgent can beeline straight for the boss. Mentosman is going to have to do the whole sweep. But yeah, at this point, if the item ends up being, back of Thieves Town or Skull Woods, one of those spots that FEARAgent has gotten the start on, that's going to be his saving grace.
Do you need Fire Rod and Flippers? And honestly, they could be anywhere. That was an interesting hook shot there, FEARAgent. Not sure I've seen that one before. Mentosman will have silver arrows in here, so we'll be able to bypass the rooms like a few frames faster, but that's about it. FEARAgent also probably making the dip here into Turtle Rock as well.
Yeah, it looks like.
And seems to be the new meta, folks. Just go into Turtle Rock if you don't have the Fire Rod.
Well, I mean, it's not paying off, but it's certainly the meta for this run. Is hovering the meta for this run?
We have two hovers here today, and is that the right angle for it? I don't know the specifics of this hover, I'll be honest.
Honestly, when you're holding on to silvers and the hammer, I would just do that bit vanilla.
But it's faster, and for the fans.
Well, I mean, there is a reason these folks are in the group stage in the tournament, and I'm not.
I didn't play, so hey.
Yep, there's the ether for Mentos.
The unnecessary ether, but an ether nonetheless.
Yep, FEARAgent making this same move into T-Rock, into the Chomp's room. This will be it for him.
And where do you go from here, good FEARAgent? Where do you go? Probably Spy Cave. So we're just gonna try and go through all the options. We have the back of Thieves Town, Purple Chest, Hammer Pigs, the first... No, you don't have the first in Swamp Palace, you don't have the Flippers. And I guess you can fake Flipper into Ice Palace, but no one's gonna do that, so... Hera Basement, and I guess that's it.
Yeah, sounds like. And nope. I was gonna say, it looks like FEARAgent was gonna do Hera Basement, but skipping the portal to take the portal.
That basement is so sad today. So get the shovel, you check the shovel spot. Where do you go then, FEARAgent? We have 2 items left in Thieves Town. We have 2 items in the back of Skull Woods, locked by the Fire Rod. And Mentosman haven't been to either of those dungeons yet. Looks like FEARAgent will go to Pod.
Mentosman getting a clean yump for a bottle.
And as we can see, this is a very close race right now. Some minor variety in what locations they've checked.
Yeah, there was definitely a bit as Mentosman8 was clearing up Meyer that it looked like he had a solid lead. FEARAgent is catching back up fast.
They're essentially a room apart here in Pod, going into crystal number 5. FEARAgent has been into Skullwoods and Thievestown, and Mentosman has done Smith and Powder, and that's basically it.
And naturally, none of that has paid off for either of them.
Yeah. I mean, I was really excited for this match, but my goodness, this is so close. We're 1 hour, 9 minutes in, and just watch this race that we're having here.
Well, it's like you mentioned earlier, in the qualifiers, they have come 25th, 26th against each other. Like, they are very equally matched.
Qualifier number 5. In number 4, they were also very close. Mentosman was 39th and FEARAgent was 42nd, so these players, they are much closer than that 40 position seed says they are.
Yeah, when we say they're 40th position or whatever, some of these qualifiers had 100+ people running them, so that's actually a very good position. And that also means we had runs where 5 people are finishing within 10 seconds of each other.
And that's probably what they did in those qualifiers. Those numbers I don't have, but I don't think I need them. You need 17 hits though to break that shield on Elmasaur King.
And then just one silver arrow or a couple of tempered slashes. Tempered slash is definitely going to be faster here.
Oh, dear lord. This race. Where do we go from here? I guess it's back of Thieves time? I don't know.
It's back of something. It's back
Purple
at Thieves
chest is
Town
back.
or it's purple chest. And everyone's sad.
There aren't that many checks left for either of them. For Mentosman, though, you have taken these big risks with Skullwoods and Thieves Town. Is now the time to say it wasn't worth it and you go and do them? Where do you go, FEARAgent? Do you follow the powder? Oh, Mentosman still just doubling down, refuses to go to Skullwoods.
This is looking like a purple chest and a hammer pegs. Yep. This is hammer pegs.
FEARAgent has the full Smith to do here. If there is something here in hammer pegs, do you just leave the frog if you're FEARAgent though? Just disregard the frog and abandon it in the wild to live with the dead cuckoos or whatever? I guess we don't need to figure that out though.
Yeah, I'm trying to assess the ecology of frogs and dead cuckoos, and really that's completely unnecessary for many reasons.
Yeah, I didn't find that book in the library either. It gave me 5 rupees instead.
Well, hopefully this unassuming man can give us a little bit of help. Otherwise, man,
No?
it's looking like Thieves Town.
Thieves Town? Hera Basement? Is that it?
I think so.
There's 2 checks in Thieves Town, and then there's the Hera Basement. Well, Mentosman says, I am never going Skull Woods this seed. And the time has come for Mentosman to admit to the gambles. At this point, he has no other choice. He's gonna get the boomerang and the bug net here in the front, and then there's 2 items in the back.
Now, if progression is in the back and not on the big chest, then what's going through Mentosman's head at that point? Does he feel very behind, having taken that gamble, or do you assume that FEARAgent either took the same gamble or just did the front 4?
In general, if it's Pen and Thieves Town, you only tend to check the first 4 and then leave. So I don't think... I still think that Mentosman will feel like he is behind because of the Death in Eastern and the double Falling Tower of Hera, but I don't think he will feel like he is that far behind, relatively speaking. FEARAgent also checking Shovel now with this. Will probably do Thieves Town after this.
I mean, where else do you go?
Hera basement.
Yeah.
Oh lord. Mentosman gets the God Pixel in the Hellway and the enemies lined up, so that's fantastic for him. But if there's nothing here in Thieves Town, Mentosman is probably going Skull Woods before Hera Basement. 1 item left. We're down to 2 spots now, ladies and gentlemen. Where is the progression item? Is it the fire rod? Is it the flippers? Or is it the bloody mushroom? Where is it? Is it in Thieves Town or the Hera Basement?
We had to throw in the mushroom, huh?
I just had a brief look at the tracker and they haven't found the mushroom yet. To be fair, they have loot. It takes like 2 seconds to check it. It's not a big deal.
True. That would be, just the icing on this cake. To have to fetch quest the last progression item.
You like that mushroom cake? Oh.
There's flippers.
We're going swamp. Now you would actually prefer to see fire rod there, because it probably meant the flippers were in the back of Skull Woods, but now you have Ice Palace to deal with.
Yeah, although you're definitely going to play swamp first. The question is, do you do left side swamp or ice if you don't find it before then?
I think you just go do everything in swamp. Even if it's only 1 item, I still think you just go and do it. Now, if you do go ice, though, instead of swamp, man, big props to you.
That is certainly a big brain play, especially if it doesn't work out.
I mean, I wouldn't even call it bad. It's just a big, genuine risk. And considering how Mentosman has played, I'm almost a bit surprised they didn't go for that. But to be honest, he's also decided to disregard every single pendant dungeon in the seed. And FEARAgent gets the flippers, mirrors out. Where are you going?
Now, just to verify my check, with those flippers, we know there are no other items in Thieves Town, correct?
Yeah, that was the 4th and final item.
Okay. Because if both of them bailed and the fire rod was sitting in that big chest,
we'd have a Suedo repeat of a race that we had earlier today with Pen and Turtle Rock instead of Pen and Thieves Town, but yeah, we're not having that today. And FEARAgent is making the same call, so this is just going to be execution, but there is still GT routing here that could have a major impact.
Yeah, and, you know, if that fire rod is being rude, then there is a little bit of selection routing as well, but it's fairly likely that the fire rod is going to be straight on the route.
Did you know that we've had Tempered Sword for a full hour right now?
Oh, hey, it's come in handy.
It certainly has. Now, if there is nothing here, you will probably go to ice. And if there is nothing there, I guess we're back to Hera basement.
Well, no. Oh, there it is. We're good.
Yep, we're there. It's go mode. Whoop whoop. No need for left side at all. So this is execution and GT routing at this point.
Yeah, but Mentosman clearly having the advantage, but it is a small enough one that GT routing can flip it.
This is far from over at this point. Anything can happen right now. Now they are very unlikely to check any additional locations. They have Tempered Sword with silvers, 11 to 12 hearts, red mail, both invulnerability items. I think they have a red potion or something. I can't see them checking additional locations for half magic.
Nah, at this point, any additional potions or that half magic, those are conveniences, and if you stumble across them, great. You're not hunting for anything.
Yeah, this is just get the seed done as fast as possible. FEARAgent will get the fire on in about 10 seconds. Mentosman, not quite getting the setup for that.
And that's
Sucks.
go mode for FEARAgent.
He's in go mode. Mentosman misses the silver though. He's another one. Oh no, it misses! No. Okay. No, that was a sword poke? That arrow hit! It hit it! You can see it hit it! Hello, game? Hitboxes? How do you work? I didn't know that it was invulnerable for a brief period of time after it landed, but you can, like, what? I'm so confused right now.
I didn't know it either, but I mean, the proof is in the poking, I guess.
I guess so. We still have Turtle Rock left to do, remember that. We're not in GT just yet.
Yeah, and we're able to basically go mode Turtle Rock, but go mode versus a regular run, there's not a lot of difference.
Only if the keys line up in such a way that you can skip Laser Bridge.
Not only if the dead rocks light up in such a way that they don't be terrible.
Oh dear. And the cabbages are being really bad as well. Wow. FEARAgent not attempting for some quick kill strat here and just playing it safe. They could gain some time here if he gets the first silver to connect. There we go.
There we go.
Six crystals, one left. Turtle Rock, here we go. Man, these dead rocks really not being kind to Mentosman.
Yeah, those things are being quite possibly the great equalizer right now. Saving FEARAgent a couple seconds here and there.
And every little bit counts. And we've been in Turtle Rock and just checked a few things, nothing major. Man, this cabbage has been quite annoying for FEARAgent as well, but no dead rock problem.
Oof.
Not the right angle there for that hook shot. Sorry, Mentosman. I mean, you gotta feel this is a close race. Imagine if you think that if you're Mentosman and you think FEARAgent went deeper to Thieves Town, got the flippers. What a different race this could have been. If FEARAgent would have full cleared Ice Palace. No, please, no.
Or if you think your opponent went to Hera. Or if you think, well, no, clearing out Skullwoods is pretty unlikely with where that fire rod was.
Hera basement forever alone. FEARAgent now in Turtle Rock. I mean, we talked earlier about Mentosman skipping out on hearts, but there's still only one container behind here. Of course, the more important thing, FEARAgent exact same hookshots, but also exactly 100 more rupees than Mentosman.
Yeah, we do not need that lava chest. Mentosman completely skipping out, stealing that key, and skedaddling.
Yeah, not looking for items here, just looking for keys. Pokey, please.
With all these invulnerability items, even Laser Bridge is not going to be much of a headache.
We'll need to go there to get a key, though. Mentosman skipping the fill up there as well, the firebar room.
Yeah, did skip the big chest, which I believe could have this last small key, but we'll see.
Why is it always the last chest? Why?
Always.
Always is that last chest.
There.
Oh. Okay. I swear, it's always the last chest that has something there. It's either an item or it's a key. You know, I should really look up what are the vanilla items on Laser Bridge. I don't actually know that.
It's, I believe, a 20 rupee, 5 rupee, 1 rupee, and the small key. I think
Lovely.
in that order.
Lovely. So Trinex, trying to go for a 1 cycle here, attacking from behind, 4 hits. Oh, we didn't get the menu switch to the fire roll. Oh, that could be some seconds there that FEARAgent can make up. And that's actually a good amount of seconds there.
Yeah. FEARAgent is going to go top to bottom as well, so we'll get the small key last.
Trinex is down, that's 7 crystals for Mentosman. I regret to inform you all, but the big key guessing game bot is apparently not working right now and is in dire need of repairs, but you can still guess random numbers.
Yep, there are 22 item locations where that Gannis Hour big key could be. If you guess a number between 1 and 22, that gives you a much greater chance of being right than if you said perhaps 40.
Probably. Now, even if FEARAgent manages to get the big key before Mentosman, we will still go by Mentosman here. Even though the bot is dead and all, we just do that. Honorary winners, you know. FEARAgent gets the menu.
I appreciate all three of you who said 40.
I like the 42 person. So 1 cycle for FEARAgent. That's a faster fight.
Right, number 1, small key. Number 2, 300 rupees. We are going to see a right side play from Mentosman, thanks to that small key.
You get the key, so you can go right. Tile room is essentially Hera Basement 2.0. You have boots, so you can quickly get through these rooms and be very liberal with the fire rod when able to.
Yeah, there'll be enough magic refills. You don't have to worry too much about it. Number 3, mushroom.
Spicy.
Number 4, fairy in a bottle. Good time for that. 5 rupees, 6 compass.
Yeah, with that fairy, Mentosman is certainly not going to have any problems here. There's not going to be any death for anything. We'll see how FEARAgent decides to route this, though.
Number 7, 20 rupees.
Hey, Fear, where are you going after these two? It's probably just continuing right, though. Yep.
Yep. Number 8, bombs. Number 9, small key. Number 10, small key. Number 11, 10 arrows.
We're digging deeper into the tower. This is execution at this point. There's also quadrant glitch, if you believe in that. I don't, but there are those who do.
And there's the big key at 12.
That chest can have the key. I didn't actually know that because I don't think I've ever seen that before.
I've seen it there, but it's not a very common location. I mean, any given location is statistically not very common.
Statistics in Randomizer, you know.
Yeah.
Well, it's all execution here for Mentosman moving through the gauntlet. Now we will, of course, like to tell you all that this is a best of 3 and Game 2 will take place tomorrow at the same time as today. No safety room for Mentosman.
Using those silvers make quick work of things. No, our stun price is 5 rupees.
Huh. How uninteresting. Actually, it means that Mentosman is now only 95 rupees behind. That is interesting.
And it's looking like FEARAgent is about a minute and a half behind right now.
And these
That's
rooms have
certainly...
these rooms have been working out very well for Mentosman. Do continue.
No, I was just gonna say at that split, either Mentosman needs to start fumbling or we need a Ganon fall.
Me and my big mouth, these misses with the silver arrows are not good at all. This looks like a 3 cycle. That's time that can be gained. But FEARAgent will need more than that if he's gonna catch up.
And yeah, we've got those anxiety beeps, but Mentos does have a fairy, so not the biggest risk right now. Taking a death up here without that fairy, though, would be oof.
Oof is putting it lightly. Any major event like that is game deciding at this point. Get the full magic pick up here.
Yeah, had just enough to do that last room.
Ooh, do you risk covering Moldorm 2 here, though?
I don't know. I would not feel far ahead enough to gamble.
Oh, this could be interesting. Will you kill the Moldorm, or will you skip it? The hookshot is up, so we're killing Moldorm.
Fear is it's a 2 cycle on them. That's not great, rather, but is better than a 3. So.
And that Moldorm was out for blood today, but not quite. And there's still some time that can change here on the Aga fight, but not all that much. This is definitely Mentos' race. It's been that way for some time, but at this point there's gonna take a Ganon fall or something like that for FEARAgent to have a chance.
Just a single on that first run.
That's a good one, but gets a blue ball, unfortunately, so only gets 2. Come on.
Ooh, this is a lot of singles to be hitting.
Just getting some Aga 1 flashbacks here, you know, 6 out of 6 blue balls at the start. Oh no, FEARAgent didn't get that bomb throw properly.
That's going to be Mentosman showing us the final pyramid at 135 flat. So we'll see how much time FEARAgent has to make up with a hover, possibly? Wow. Yes!
That does save time, but it's not gonna save enough time. He needs to hope that Ganon over on the other screen is going to be good for him. That seems unlikely.
Oof. FEARAgent getting 0 on that first run.
Ouch.
Yeah, Aga 2 is very rude today.
Aga 1 was also very rude. Not really been an Aga friendly seed at all. It also just seemed like almost every single routing choice that FEARAgent did in the mid-game didn't quite work out in his favor, and Mentosman did some great risks after that Eastern Death that ended up giving him this lead that he now has. Could potentially set up a triple there, but he just goes for the single.
Yeah. We're already on the last phase of Ganon for Mentosman. That's a double with those arrows. And that's game. Mentosman just has to cross this bridge, and that will do it.
Wow, what a fantastic race we've had here to open up this best of 3. They were so close at various points, and I mean, you have to imagine looking at that early game that Mentosman seen behind, but some very calculated risks allowing him to take this win up 1-0 in this best of 3. That is an official SRL time of 1 hour 36 minutes 49 seconds.
Right, we are going to give FEARAgent a chance to take care of Ganon himself, and then we'll have both of them in for a chat.
Oh, yes, the fairy.
Oh.
Yes, the fairy. It's always that like
Still-
brief moment when you see the death and then you realize, oh yeah, there's a fairy.
Oh, and a red potion that they got very early on from that from the waterfall fairy.
Yeah, that was picked up very early on. Ooh, Ganon, please.
And this should do it. There we go.
And we've had a fantastic performance here from both of our players today. It's unfortunately sad that someone has to take the win and someone has to take the loss. FEARAgent, with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 38 minutes, 45 seconds.
And we have with us FEARAgent and Mentosman. GG to the both of you.
Yeah, GG Fear. That was fantastic.
Yeah, fun way to start the tournament.
I knew going into this race that me and you are very, very close, so I expected a good race, but not 2 minutes different on a seed like that.
Yeah, that was watching it back was pretty fun.
So, Mentosman, I want to ask, of like the various gambles that you took throughout the seed, I'm wondering how much of that was planned going in, that you were just going to take these risks, and how much of it was knowing that you took that early death in Eastern and kind of adapting based on that.
A lot of stuff was situational. I think the biggest gamble was never setting foot in Skull Woods, because eventually it just got to the point where if Fire Rider flippers were there, I already lost, so I might as well just keep putting it off. But a lot of it is just, the situation seems fine for them.
I was going to ask what you have against Skull Woods.
Nothing really, but you skip it right at the start, and then you're just like, you know what, I'm never going back.
Yeah, I don't like skipping it in that situation just because it takes so long to get back there from MAGA, not having a hammer or the mitts at the time. So I feel like it's a quick dip. Of course, there was literally nothing in the front. Both items were fire rod locked, so that was really fun. And I think, Mentos, you said you didn't do pod after AGA, right?
Yeah, I skipped that until I had the hammer later.
It certainly did seem like, unfortunately, very few of your decisions worked out for you in the seed FEARAgent, both with Skullwoods, Feastown, and Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. I've got a lot of second place finishes on my SRL, so take a usually how it goes.
Well, they're very sensible moves. Like you were saying, it's a long ways back to Skull Woods, so it's just a case of a lot of smart moves that didn't pay out.
Yeah, and the bow was really disappointing. I figured it was going to give us something because we got it so early, but bow was... I mean, the only reason we had bow was to clear the dungeons, not to get any items. That was a little disappointing. Hera was on my mind the entire time. I think because I skipped Hera, I ended up doing overall checks after the castle. I feel like my plan was to do AGA going to the castle, especially after I got that Moon Pearl, and I was like, I'll just do AGA now. And then I got the boots, and I could do water checks really quick and boots checks and the bottle, so I did all that stuff. I kind of regret that. It was the Hera. I thought I was skipping something in Hera. I really did, and I wasn't sure if Mentosman would go back to get it or not, and that made me clear some stuff that I didn't want to clear. The pod play, I think, was the big one for me. It's like having to double dip it just is 2 or 3 minutes, right? That's the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured with pod in particular, I figured the bow might lead to something, but a save and quit would put me back on the pyramid, and I was gonna do all that overworld on the route around to Height Cave anyway. So if the hammer was there, cool. I get to skip and do it all in one go. If not, it's very quick to get back to.
I've just seen the hammer and pod too many times to skip it there in that spot. I don't know. I don't know what the right play is there. Because every time I skip it, it's got the hammer, and then when I don't skip it, it's got nothing. So I don't know.
The joys of rando.
Yeah, we were saying we expected a very rude hammer location, saying how, like, you see hammer in swamp once, and that's one time too many. I guess in this case, having it be in Hookshot Cave was not as rude as it could have been, by far.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad. Like, that was, I feel like after you get the gloves, Mentosman, did you go up to the mountain after that, or did you do Mire Desert? Because that's what I did first.
Yeah, I did Mire and Desert before the mountain. I was actually doing them hoping for the hammer, so I could dip T-Rock if I had access to it, since we had everything but Fire Rod for it.
I did not want to see flippers. When it was down to flippers and Fire Rod, I was like, please no flippers, because I was avoiding Ice Palace like the plague that it is. And then we got flippers, and I'm like, oh great. Well, I have to do Swamp first because it's a crystal, but this is gonna be bad. And when I finally got the flippers and then I got the Fire Rod, I felt super behind.
Yeah, but at the end of it all, only 2-minute difference. That's not super behind. That's a pretty good race.
Yeah, I'm glad it was close.
We did even get to have the two of you synced when you FEARAgent returned to Palace of Darkness and you were sitting in the cutscene waiting to get to the boss.
Nice.
It was really close at various points in the race, despite everything that happened.
I mean, I can't complain too much. We got Tempered Sword early, we got early boots, and we got early flute. That's like everything that I want from a seed.
Shout out to the one time you get Mirror early being a Naga seed, though, because of course.
Shoutouts to Book.
God, a stupid book too. Ugh.
I blindfolded that book out of Lumberjack Cave and was still very disappointed by it.
We got all the fetch quests except for the mushroom. So the powder and the shovel and everything to like take you away from progression. Just, I hate Pendant Thieves Town. I really do. I hate it.
Agree.
Yeah. I think that's a lesson we can all take away from this race.
I do have to give it credit, though. At least it gave us the flippers as item number 4. It wasn't a matter of, well, do I keep going for the 4th item or do I leave?
That's true. If there had been a key in the front, I would have full cleared Thieves Town at that point. So unlucky for me, there wasn't a key there. Because in that case, it could have been the hammer. So if there's a key in the front, and I don't have the hammer, I usually still full clear it if I can.
I do also have to ask about those AGA 1 blue balls. Was like 6-7 of them in a row at the beginning.
Yeah, that was always fun. And my AGA 2 is, I hope everyone closed their eyes. I wasn't paying attention when I was fighting AGA 2 because that was really, really bad. At the end there, I lost a bit of steam. I felt so deflated going into Turtle Rock.
Well, I mean, AGA 2 was rough for the both of you.
Well, we get to do it again tomorrow, same time.
Yeah. And I guess FEARAgent, that means that the rule change selection is in your hands.
Yeah, I'm not changing anything. We'll just do regular open.
Oh, fair enough. I could hear the thinking emoji from Marjovic.
My existence is a thinking emoji.
Fair enough.
Well, thanks for the restream and the comms. I'm excited to watch it back. And GG's to Mentos. Good luck tomorrow as well. And
Yep, right back at you on both. And another ditto on the thanks for the restream and commentary. I caught the last 20 minutes or so of it, and you guys did fantastic. So looking forward to hearing the other hour and 15 minutes.
It's always a pleasure to commentate such good players.
Ah,
All right. Any last things before we roll on out? I'll take that as a no.
yeah, I'm good. Thanks again.
All right. So yes, thank you, FEARAgent, Mentosman, GG's on your runs. Thank you to Tau Decay for taking care of all the tracking on this match. And Marjovic, thank you for joining me on the commentary.
Well, it's been a pleasure commentating this with you, and we have plenty of other races currently going on and will continue to go on throughout the entire day over on the various speed gaming channels.
Yep. So if you're not already following the speed gaming channels, speed gaming then 2 through 6, might want to follow them. I want to follow the runners, see more of their wonderful rando work. And I do believe that will do it for us today. So again, thank you all for watching. Adios.